So here's the thing. Hollywood's full of second chances, comebacks, and carefully crafted PR arcs. But every now and then, someone tries to climb the ladder a little too fast and ends up stepping on the wrong toes. Meghan Markle's recent stumble? That wasn't just a misstep. It was a full-on faceplant. And Drew Barrymore happened to be standing right there when it happened. Now, let's not act like these two didn't almost have a moment. Meghan rolled on to the Drew Barrymore Show like she was floating on a cloud of Montecito lavender mist, all polished vibes and curated charm. Drew, bless her, welcomed her like a long-lost sorority sister. Eyes gleaming, compliments flowing like champagne at a Netflix wrap party. For a second, it looked like a new Hollywood friendship was being born. And why not? Drew's America's sweetheart. She's been through the Hollywood ringer and came out warm, grounded, and still hugging everyone on set. Meghan, on the other hand, was mid-rebrand, pushing her wellness empire, her jam jars, and whatever vision she had for American Riviera chic. They could have been the odd but lovable duo, except something went sideways, fast. It started with whispers, the kind that always start with allegedly, but you know they're real because they come from craft services and lighting crews, the people who actually know what happens backstage. Word is, Meghan wasn't just a guest on Drew's show. She was a diva on arrival. From how she wanted to be introduced to how she treated the staff, everything screamed, I'm not just a duchess, I'm the duchess. But here's the thing, this is America. Titles don't hit the same here. We don't bow, we don't curtsy, and we definitely don't revere someone just because they married into a royal family. Drew's whole show is built on realness, messy emotions, laughter, and a vibe that feels like therapy with snacks. So when Meghan reportedly insisted on being introduced with a nod to her royal status, something like Duchess of Sussex or formerly royal turned lifestyle mogul, it clashed hard with the show's DNA. Insiders say Drew was surprised, not mad, just caught off guard. But that surprise turned into discomfort once Meghan allegedly started acting like she was above the process, ignoring production guidelines, speaking down to crew members. You can get away with that in Buckingham Palace, maybe, but on a Hollywood talk show? Nah. That's social suicide. And Drew, she clocked it. Quietly, this is a woman who grew up in the industry, who survived child stardom, rehab, tabloids, and still came out with her kindness intact. She doesn't do fake friendships, and she definitely doesn't play host to someone treating her crew like second-class citizens. By the time the cameras stopped rolling, whatever spark had existed between the two had fizzled into a chilly silence. Viewers didn't miss it either. At first, they were cringing at Drew's enthusiasm. Some even joked she was trying too hard to become Meghan's bestie. But after the episode aired and news of the behind-the-scenes drama started leaking, public opinion started to shift. Suddenly, Drew didn't look overeager. She looked like someone who got blindsided. The craziest part? Meghan needed this. After the Netflix fallout, the Spotify mess, and the constant headlines about staff quitting and brand confusion, she needed a clean, simple win, a hit interview, a vibe reset. But instead of embracing Drew's warmth and authenticity, she leaned into status and spectacle. And that, more than any one moment, is what's got Hollywood side-eyeing her now, because it's not just about how you show up, it's how you treat people once you're there. It wasn't just Drew's team that felt the frost. Industry insiders started whispering about Meghan's attitude, and those whispers travel fast. In Hollywood, image is everything. You can have the perfect teeth, the flawless wardrobe, and a PR team that spins gold, but if you're rude to the wrong assistant or talk down to the lighting guy, it gets around. And when the person backing away from you is Drew Barrymore, someone known for her kindness and second chances, people start paying real attention. Executives started asking questions, not out loud, but in the way they do when something's off. Is Meghan really worth the risk? Can we work with someone who's making more headlines for tension and status obsession than for actual content? This wasn't just another awkward interview moment. It was the kind of quiet red flag that turns into a deal breaker in boardrooms and casting calls. And then came the rumors. Meghan had insisted on certain titles being used, reportedly got testy when producers didn't comply, and even brushed off standard show protocols like she was above them. On a show like Drew's, That kind of behavior isn't just frowned upon, it's radioactive. This isn't a late-night talk show where shade and sass are part of the game. Drew's set is supposed to feel like a living room, a safe space. Meghan came in like she was walking a red carpet at Buckingham Palace, not realizing that the glitz didn't translate. Behind the scenes, things snowballed. According to some crew members, Meghan wasn't exactly pleasant. Her tone, off. Her energy, dismissive. It wasn't a screaming match or diva tantrum, but something subtler. That vibe where someone makes you feel small just by being in the room. And in Hollywood, where so much depends on reputation and relationships, that kind of energy burns bridges before you even realize it. Drew, for her part, didn't go public. No tweets, no statements, just a quiet retreat. But everyone noticed, especially when Drew stopped mentioning Meghan altogether. Not even a throwaway compliment or a social media repost. Nothing. That silence, deafening. And then, social media got its hands on the story. Viewers who had initially praised Meghan's appearance started shifting their tone. Comments flooded in. Some defending her, but many more pointing out how uncomfortable the whole segment felt. She didn't vibe with Drew, one user wrote. She came off like she thought she was better than the whole setup. Another post read, "If Drew Barrymore, of all people, pulls back, that says everything." Meanwhile, Meghan's team tried to do damage control. Subtle stories planted here and there. Words like misunderstanding and cultural differences floated around, as if the issue was some small mix-up over formalities. But it wasn't that simple. This was about energy, tone, vibes, things you can't spin with press releases. What hurt Meghan's image the most wasn't even what happened during the interview. It was what people said happened after. That she left the crew feeling disrespected. That she pushed for royal treatment in a space that thrives on equality. That she couldn't drop the Duchess act long enough to be human. That, right there, is where it all cracked. Hollywood might love royalty in theory, but in practice, it wants warmth, relatability, and people who play nice with the machine. If you act like you're too good for the room eventually stops inviting you. And for someone trying to build an empire in this town, that's not just a problem. It's a full-blown warning sign. The fallout didn't just end with Drew. Meghan's behavior started setting off alarm bells in other circles too. Production companies, brand reps, event organizers, people who had once seen her as a fresh, modern voice in the entertainment space were now seeing someone who seemed more concerned with status than connection. The kind of person who talks about authenticity in interviews, but allegedly acts like she's above the people making the magic happen behind the scenes. Hollywood is weird. You can be dramatic, you can be intense, you can even be a little difficult if you bring something extraordinary to the table. But if the stories about you become bigger than your projects, that's when it all starts to slip. And that's exactly what was happening. Meghan's image, already under pressure from failed deals and endless online discourse, now had a new dent. The perception that she just didn't get it. And for Drew, whose entire brand is built on empathy and relatability, staying linked to someone carrying that kind of energy was a risk. She's not a passive figurehead on her show. She's involved, she cares, and she protects the vibe of her set like it's sacred. So when Meghan's attitude allegedly disrupted that, Drew made a decision. No big public statement, no messy falling out, just quiet distance. That, in Hollywood, is the loudest message of all. Insiders started connecting dots. The exit from Spotify, the tension with Netflix, the never-ending staff turnover, none of it felt isolated anymore. It was all starting to look like a pattern. And when patterns like this emerge, studios and sponsors pay close attention. Because in this industry, consistency matters. You might have a rocky start or a PR hiccup, but if it keeps happening, people start asking if the problem isn't the projects, it's you. Even Meghan's lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, started feeling the heat. What was supposed to be her big comeback, an elegant mix of wellness, aesthetics, and high-end products, was now being mocked online for being overpriced and out of touch. $22 a bottle for wine with a minimum order of 3 from someone critics said couldn't keep a friend, let alone a business afloat? That was a PR nightmare dressed up as a brand launch. Celebrity chef Jameson Saints even took a jab, calling it the Great Wine Robbery, and social media ate it up. Memes, jokes, screenshots of empty order forms. And at the center of it all, Meghan. Once again, looking more like a caricature of elitism than the relatable figure her team was working overtime to push. For Drew, walking away wasn't personal. It was strategic. She's spent decades cultivating a career defined by warmth and likability. She knows what it's like to burn out and come back, to rebuild, to earn trust, one show at a time. And she also knows that trust is fragile. One wrong alliance can undo years of goodwill. So she protected her space, her name, her legacy. Meghan, meanwhile, is learning a harsh lesson in real time, that titles don't open doors in America the way they do in castles. That charm has to be felt, not performed. And that the people you treat like props behind the curtain are the same people whose stories shape the narrative long after the cameras stop rolling. In Hollywood, every move counts, every whisper echoes. And when someone like Drew Barrymore quietly exits your corner, it's not just one person walking away. It's the industry saying, we see what's going on, and we're taking notes.